You reach a point in life where you finally understand something real. Nobody is coming to pull you out of the fire. Nobody is coming to hand you a new life, a new mindset, a new opportunity. And that might sound harsh, but it's the truth that sets you free. Because the moment you stop waiting for rescue, you start building your own ladder. The moment you stop expecting someone to show up for you, you start showing up for yourself in ways you never thought you could. Every time you tell yourself someone will help me, you delay your own rise. You hand your power away, you pause your own story. But when you look in the mirror and admit it's on me, something shifts. You become dangerous, you become focused. You become the kind of person who refuses to quit because you finally understand that your next level is not a gift, it's a responsibility. You have a vision inside you that nobody else can see the way you do. People may support you, but they can't save you. They may motivate you, but they can't walk your path. They may cheer for you, but they can't carry your weight. That's your job. And when you embrace that, every step you take becomes stronger. Every setback becomes a lesson. And every challenge becomes a chance to prove to yourself who you really are. This life rewards the ones who work in silence, who grind when nobody is watching, who keep moving even when their heart is heavy. Too many people are waiting for a perfect moment, a perfect sign, a perfect person to come change it all. But the truth is, change happens the second you decide to stop waiting, the second you decide to be consistent, the second you decide to bet on yourself with everything you've got. Your discipline becomes your lifeline. Your consistency becomes your wings. You don't need someone to believe in you more than you believe in yourself. You don't need someone to push you more than you push yourself. You don't need someone to open the door when you're capable of building your own. Every day you wake up, you have two choices. Keep waiting or start creating. Keep depending or start becoming. Everything you want already exists in the version of you that refuses excuses. The version of you that doesn't break when life gets heavy. The version of you that keeps moving when people doubt you. The version of you that understands that saving yourself doesn't mean you have to do it alone. It means you have to lead the way. Stop giving the world the responsibility that belongs to you. Stop assuming someone else will carry your dreams, fight your battles, or chase your goals. Stand up for yourself. Invest in yourself. Choose yourself. When you take control of your life, the universe responds. Doors open. People appear. Opportunities show up. Not because they saved you, but because you saved yourself first. And that's the real victory. Not being rescued, but rising on your own. Not being saved, but becoming someone worth saving. You are stronger than your past, bigger than your pain, and more powerful than any excuse trying to hold you back. So don't wait. Don't pause. Don't depend. Start today. Start now. Now. Stand up and rewrite your life with your own hands. There comes a moment in every person's life when the truth hits them harder than any mistake, any loss, or any disappointment ever could. It's the realization that if your life is going to change, it's going to be because you changed it. Not your family, not your friends, not the people who promised to show up, not the opportunities you hoped would magically appear. You. And the strange thing is, even though this truth feels heavy at first, it's the exact truth that gives you your freedom. Because once you accept responsibility for your life, you unlock a power nobody can take from you. Most people move through the world believing that their success depends on someone else seeing their potential. They wait for approval. They wait for support. They wait for someone to choose them. But when you understand that your future is not built on someone else's decisions but your own actions, you stop living small. You stop living passive. You stop living like a passenger in your own story. You take the wheel, and suddenly the road starts to open in ways you never thought were possible. 100% true. Responsibility isn't a weight. Responsibility is a weapon. It puts the power back in your hands. It allows you to say, if I'm not where I want to be, I can move. If I'm not who I want to be, I can grow. If I don't have what I want, I can build. When you embrace responsibility, excuses lose their voice. Blame loses its importance. Waiting loses its attraction. You start living with an urgency that separates the people who dream from the people who transform. And transformation only begins when you stop pointing fingers and start raising your standards. Think about the people you admire. Anyone who has climbed from nothing to something. anyone who has risen above their environment, anyone who has turned pain into power. Their story always starts at the same moment, the moment they said, enough. Not enough struggle, but enough waiting. They realized nobody owed them a rescue. Nobody owed them a shortcut. Nobody owed them a miracle. And instead of seeing that as discouraging, they used it as fuel. Because when nobody owes you anything, everything you achieve becomes yours. Earned, not given. Built, not borrowed. And that feeling is priceless. Self-responsibility is the difference between people who stay stuck and people who break through. When you blame the world, you stay powerless. When you take ownership, you become unstoppable. Because ownership means you control the pace, the energy, the effort, the comeback, the consistency. Ownership means your past can't trap you, your environment can't limit you, and your fear can't slow you down unless you allow it. Ownership means nobody can decide your future but you. And when you finally claim that kind of responsibility, you begin to see how much potential you've been sitting on. You start realizing the doors weren't locked. You just weren't pushing hard enough. The opportunities weren't missing. You just weren't prepared enough. The help wasn't absent. You just weren't leading yourself enough. Everything shifts when you stop waiting for someone else to move your life forward and decide, if I want momentum, I'll create it. If I want progress, I'll build it. If I want a better life, I'll work for it. The truth is, life becomes simpler, not easier, but clearer when you accept full responsibility. Because now there's no confusion about who's in control, no doubt about who's accountable, no question about who's capable. You. And when you know it's you, you stop hoping and start strategizing. You stop wishing and start working. You stop surviving and start expanding. Your future stops being a possibility and becomes a decision. People talk about motivation like it's the fuel that will carry them through life, but motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. It rises when life feels good, and it falls the moment things get uncomfortable. You can't rely on something that disappears the second life punches you in the mouth. What you can rely on, the only thing that never betrays you, is discipline and consistency. These two are the real lifelines that pull you out of the darkness, out of excuses, out of the version of yourself that keeps waiting for change instead of building it. Discipline is not about feeling good. It's about doing what you said you would do even when everything in you is tired, overwhelmed, or uninspired. It's about honoring your own word. It's about showing up when nobody is clapping, nobody is watching, and nobody is offering you anything in return. The people who rise to greatness don't rise because they were always motivated. They rise because they trained their mind to move even without motivation. They moved on discipline. Consistency is the quiet force that builds the life you want brick by brick. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It doesn't make noise. But it delivers results that nothing else can. Most people fail not because they lack talent, intelligence, or desire. They fail because they start strong and fade fast. They push today and disappear tomorrow. They run only when the sun feels warm, only when the path feels smooth. But your life changes when you keep going even on the days that feel heavy, slow, or unfair. Every dream you have requires a version of you that shows up daily, not weekly, not when it's convenient, not when you feel spiritual or energized, daily. This is where consistency becomes a superpower. It takes your small efforts, the ones that seem pointless in the moment, and compounds them into something unstoppable. A person who is consistent will always outgrow, outwork, and outperform the person who is occasionally motivated. Discipline builds your foundation. Consistency builds your elevation. Or two. Discipline is the decision. Consistency is the follow-through. And the people who master both are the people who no longer need saving because they become their own rescue system. They create their own opportunities. They open their own door. They build habits that make success a natural outcome, not a lucky break. The truth is, discipline is hard. Consistency is hard. But struggling for your dreams is also hard. Staying stuck is hard. Living the same year over and over again is hard. You don't escape difficulty by avoiding discipline. You just trade it for a different kind of pain. And the pain of regret is far heavier than the pain of effort. When you learn to choose discipline over comfort and consistency over laziness, you start building a life where regret has no place to stand. Think about the moments you achieved something meaningful in your life. It never came from one big leap. It came from small steps repeated again and again, even when you doubted whether they mattered. That's the magic. You don't transform because of one powerful day. You transform because of many ordinary days done with extraordinary commitment. You don't become strong from one workout. Your strength comes from showing up 100 times when you didn't want to. You don't become wise from one lesson. You grow from learning, failing, and adjusting consistently over time. Life tests you. It pushes you. It tries to break your rhythm, distract your focus, and weaken your confidence. But discipline is what keeps you grounded. Consistency is what keeps you rising. People may doubt you, but your habits don't. People may leave you, but your routine stays. Motivation may fade, but your discipline won't if you train it. And when you reach that point, when you can rely on your own consistency, you become unstoppable. Because at that point, you're not hoping for success. You're building it. You're not waiting for rescue. You're rescuing yourself. You're not depending on inspiration to move you. You're depending on your own ability to keep going. And that ability is what separates people who talk about change from people who create it. Here's why discipline and consistency are your real lifeline. They don't just help you survive. They help you evolve. They help you rise. They help you become the version of yourself that no longer needs saving because you've learned to be your own strength every single day. There's a moment when you stop running from the truth and finally step into the version of yourself that was waiting for you all along. That version is stronger, sharper, wiser, and more focused. That version doesn't wait for miracles. It becomes the miracle. That version doesn't wait for someone to lift them up. They lift themselves. And that transformation begins the second you understand that you're meant to become the person who saves yourself. Saving yourself doesn't mean you isolate. It doesn't mean you push the world away. It means you lead your own life with intention. It means you stop letting fear call the shots. It means you stop letting doubt, insecurity, and other people's opinions shape your future. You stop reacting and start building. You stop wishing and start working. You stop hiding and start standing up in your full power. Becoming the person who saves yourself is about recognizing that everything you need is already inside you. You just have to uncover it. You have strength that life hasn't activated yet. You have courage that adversity hasn't demanded yet. You have potential that you haven't even touched yet. And the only way you discover all of that is by deciding to stop depending on someone else to take the first step. You take it yourself. It's easy to say you want a better life. It's easy to talk about change. But becoming the person who saves themselves requires action that aligns with your words. It requires discipline that matches your dreams. It requires the humility to admit what needs to change and the courage to actually change. Most people never reach their next level because they keep looking outside for answers that can only be found inside. When you take responsibility for your growth, your healing, your mindset, your progress, you step into a level of power that people can feel. You walk different. You think different. You decide different. You don't let excuses live inside you. You don't let fear take root. You don't let your past define your future. You become the kind of person who keeps moving even when the road is dark because you finally trust your own light. You stop waiting for validation. You validate yourself. You stop waiting for someone to choose you. You choose yourself. You stop waiting for the perfect time. You create your own timing. You stop searching for rescue and start building your own escape route brick by brick through discipline, belief, action, and consistency. That's what it means to save yourself. You build the foundation of the person you want to become, even if nobody else sees the vision yet. Life will test you. It will stretch you. It will force you to decide who you're going to be when things get real. But every time you choose yourself, every time you stand back up, every time you push through doubt, you are training yourself to become unstoppable. People might help you for a moment, but only you can help yourself for a lifetime. People might motivate you for a day, but only you can build habits that carry you for years. The world respects the person who can stand in their truth and say, "I got me." Not in arrogance, but in ownership. Not in pride, but in power. Because the person who saves themselves becomes someone who can save others. Not by carrying them, but by inspiring them to carry themselves. You become a blueprint. You become a reminder that transformation. You become living proof that nobody needs to hand you permission to change your life. One day, you look back and realize the moment you stopped waiting was the moment everything started shifting. The day you chose yourself was the day the universe started opening doors. Not because someone rescued you, but because you rose into the version of yourself that was finally ready to walk through them. You didn't get saved. You became someone worth saving, and that changes everything. At the end of the day, your life will always reflect the choices you made, not the chances you waited for. You can wish, you can hope, you can pray for someone to come fix everything, but the truth will always circle back to you. You are the builder. You are the driver. You are the force that moves your story forward. And when you finally accept that nobody is coming to save you, you unlock the freedom to save yourself. Stand up for your future like it's the only thing you've got. Fight for your growth like your next breath depends on it. Invest in your mind, your habits, your discipline, your healing, your evolution. Because the greatest comeback of your life won't come from a hero arriving at the perfect time. It'll come from you deciding that the old version of you has overstayed its welcome. You were not put here to depend. You were not put here to shrink. You were not put here to wait for rescue. You were put here to rise, to build, to transform, to become the kind of person who can look back and say, I didn't just survive, I leveled up. I didn't just hope, I worked. I didn't just dream, I became. So take this moment as your reminder, your spark, your turning point. The world might not hand you the life you want, but you can create it. The world might not save you, but you can save yourself. And when you do, when you finally step into that power with everything you've got, nothing and no one will ever be able to stop your rise. This is your time. This is your responsibility. This is your story to rewrite, starting now.